It's our favorite games of June 2023. Welcome back to Tantrum House Studio 3. I'm Jonah.
Kevin.
Melissa. Hannah.
Psychic Larry.
And Will, and today we are sharing the games that we are most excited about for the month of, what is this, July?
June.
Time travels so fast, I can't even keep track. Hopefully you guys are ready. Where do we begin? It's been a while, I've been out of some of these videos. Where do we start?
It's starting with me.
All
okay,
right.
So I'm tag teaming with Melissa. So we're going to share. Our favorite game of June was 1920 plus Expeditions. Is the plus in there?
It is
I think it's just Expedition.
It says 1920
It
plus.
does, on the box. I can see
Okay,
it.
this is a sequel to Scythe, and I really enjoyed the game. If you've played Scythe, it's one of the most popular Stonemaier games by all accounts. This is their sequel. It has a lot of the same icons, a lot of the same... Well, it's a similar theme. We're kind of in the same world, so to speak, but it really is a strategic movement game, so kind of the opposite of Scythe, right? Because in Scythe, you're just like... really kind of tough to get some movement going. And this one, the entire game is just about moving and doing the abilities that are actually depicted on these like area tiles, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, a lot of card play in it, so I would say that the card play is one of the main mechanisms, and a lot of options to maybe not super crazy combos, but there are things that you can string together so that you're making your actions more powerful. A little bit of engine building. There are cards you can end up tucking that give you ongoing powers or benefits. So I really enjoyed the variability. Players get their own mech that has an ability, and then their leader and companion that also have slightly different abilities, so it's going to be different each game, and I really enjoy that aspect.
Now, I only played it at 4 or 5 players, but I think you've played it at least at 2 players.
I played it at 2, 4, and 5.
Okay, cool. So I think when you were mentioning to me kind of how the game interacts and that the board size doesn't change with a 2-player game, I immediately thought to myself, I don't think I want to play it at 2. I think there's a little bit of, well, they're in the spot that I need, so I can't go there, I need to go around, that you just won't get in a 2-player game, because it's almost like, well, stay on your side of the board, I'll stay on my side of the board, and
Yeah,
we'll see who wins.
There wasn't
right?
as much tension in 2-player, but you got to do most of what you wanted to do. So depending on what you want out of a game, whether you like that tension and really, not like super struggling, but there is a little bit of that struggle with the other players to get what you need, and hopefully they don't take what you want. It's not as extreme in the 2-player version.
Mine is Archeos Society. This is from Space Cowboys. This is a sort of a new edition of Ethnos. If you've ever played that from a few years ago, the same sort of design team, but they sort of revamped it. It's not Ethnos. It's a sort of a new game, but has a little feel of Ethnos. This is a game where it's very card heavy as well. That you were talking about in Expeditions. Either in the game you are drawing a card into your hand, or you're playing a set of cards. And that set of cards is then making you go up a track. There's 6 different tracks. There's 6 different colors that you're moving up on the tracks, and it really feels. I don't know. I just really like the combination of the expedition leaders that have special powers, and the moving up of the tracks. What tracks do I want to go up, and then what my leaders are to help me with the different powers. I really like that in the game. The game comes with 12 different sort of expedition leaders that you can play, but you're only going to choose 6 of them in a given game, so there's a lot of variety from game to game. And even the boards that you're moving up the tracks, they all are double-sided. One side is basically just sort of a nothing, there's no power, then the other side gives a special power.
Yeah, I think one of the really interesting things about this game is when you play a set, normally any other cards that are left in your hand then go into the open market. So there's that like, oh, I have a bunch of cards. If I play these, I have to get rid of all of these. Now there are some special powers that let you break some of those rules, but that decision making of which ones do I play and which ones do I keep is interesting.
And I played this at 2, 4, and 6 players now, and they all play really, really fast. I think I do like it at the higher player count because there's more cards in the market, so you have more ability to get the cards that you need in order to play the sets that you want. And I think that in the 2-player, there are some out there, but it just feels like as you're going to probably get the cards you want in a 2-player game, based on what you see, but in a 6-player game, there's more cards available, so I like that. Do Larry or Jonah want to mention anything on it?
I was just going to say, I really did enjoy the game, but probably not as much as Larry. Because we played it last night, and
I won! This game is great!
He was pulling out these. Wow, everything went Larry's way.
Yeah.
All right, well, I already did mine, Expeditions with Jonah, so Hannah, can you get it?
All right, give me a second. Hold on.
Whoa.
Okay. All right, so this is the
game.
Arkham Asylum Files Panic in Gotham City.
Whoa.
This is an escape room style puzzle game that's gonna take you probably 7 to 9 hours to complete.
6 to 7, I would
Does
say.
it play
It depends on how long it takes. So you can play this in chapters. But the cool thing about this, if you've played your exit style, your lock card games, this also comes with augmented reality. So you do need a phone, an iPad, something to play and win the puzzles. There was a variety of puzzles, everything from building buildings to having to solve riddles, to then physically standing in the room and using augmented reality to decide stuff and moving components. You do probably need more than one person because sometimes it got a little awkward moving things around. But this is, you follow Harley Quinn around Gotham City, but all your favorite villains and heroes are gonna be there.
There was the zoo animals.
There was excellent voice acting. There was little videos and snippets you were watching. You were, going through Gotham City. You build Gotham City, and you use your phone. There are zoo animals that get loose and they run around the city. You're trying to find them. This is everything. There were physical components that you needed. There may be a mask in here that you actually have to use for one of the puzzles. So this was just...
Does it come with a Batman mask?
Well, it's either a Batman or a Joker. You don't know which one you're going to get.
We know.
Yeah, we know. But the quality of the puzzles, the components was amazing. This is a company, Infinity Rabbit Holes. They have done a lot of augmented reality for big name companies like Disney. I think maybe some other places like Universal or different things. So they have the quality behind them. They know what they're doing with the augmented reality, and they've created quality puzzles. This was a lot of fun.
I have questions.
Yes.
Is it replayable? Are you destroying things?
Not destroying things, but you can replay it, but...
So, replayable as in you could pass it on to someone else, but you wouldn't play it yourself again because you know the puzzles.
Yeah. 2, you said I could try it. Did you actually put it back in order? Like,
yes.
Okay.
Everything is in the proper envelope.
Perfect.
Just for you, Will.
That would be very important to do. I will say some of the puzzles are very hard. We struggled a lot with some puzzles.
8 to 10 hours.
But
weeks.
but there is a hint system, and I would phone a friend if you get really stuck.
And then third question,
Yes.
did you said it's in chapters, like is there like crazy reset up every time, or is it like pull out the new and play the new section?
Only in the very end did it get frustrating because we had to kind of pull out pieces from previously in the final chapter. But for the most part, other than the main city that you needed to set up, there was a lot.
We did leave up, because there are buildings you're constructing on a map, we did leave up that map and those buildings over the course of several weeks because we did it
But
like
everything
3 or
else
4
we put back
weekends.
in the packages.
Yeah. Kevin and I have a video about this.
Absolutely.
We have a video about Expeditions
The
too,
only-
if you want to learn more about that one.
The other thing is, if you do get stuck in a puzzle, you can just skip it and just continue out the story. So
It doesn't give you the answer.
never gives you
Back in the 8 hours. Alright.
But no, it's a lot of fun. If you're liking those exit style puzzle games, if you want to try augmented reality and you haven't, check out the very long title, Panic in Gotham City.
Alright, I'm jumping in next because I want to talk about his last.
Okay, no, we put this back down.
Alright, so I'm looking at Mission Control, which is from 3WS Games. This game, I mean, I've been waiting for this game and I didn't even know that I was waiting for this game. It is Captain Sonar as a roll and write that's cooperative.
Okay.
Real time, I mean, it is like just a big, thick roll and write. You've got one player who's acting as like the mission control, he's rolling the dice each round, you got to talk to your other teammates who are all trying to fill out their boards, dry erase boards, And every time, just like in a normal world, right, every time you cover like a bonus, you get to fill in a bonus space. However, you're filling it in on one of the other players' boards. So they get the help. So you're like, all right, Houston, you just got a bonus. And Houston's like, oh, sweet, great. So they write some more stuff. And then they're like, mission control, I just gave you a bonus. In the game, you are playing one of those 3 roles. They're all decently balanced, like in the amount of time that they take, but there's definitely some like different level skill sets, which is cool. So you can play it with like, okay, you're going to be the Tetrisy person, you're going to be the quick math person, you're going to be the Sudoku person. It kind of follows like those basic functions as you're writing, and then mission control is doing this hard. I read the rules, so I guess I'm the mission control guy. It's like a Tetris. You're trying to reconnect oxygen. You have like 20 minutes to like reconnect all the tetrominos that I got from you on my board to connect the oxygen pipes, and all the valves that I got from you to unlock the oxygen pipes, and all the third things from the third person. Oh, cards to like activate the different knobs that are gonna flush the oxygen.
That's intense.
So it was a super fantastic time. I've played it like 4 times. I'm ready to play it more. Got to do a playthrough.
Did you survive?
We did. We played it on easy first. And we had no problem. Then we played medium, and we barely made it, but on the second one, but we actually achieved like the hard level. It's how much oxygen can you unlock in the game, and we managed to unlock enough to play it on hard. So then I was like, all right, well, we got to go hard, skin of our teeth. It was a close one. Really neat stuff. I think this is going to quickly climb to one of my top games for the year. We'll see what happens. Very much enjoyed Mission Control.
My game is not here, but it is Blood on the Clocktower. Will finally dragged me into a game at Origins. Well, a couple games. He didn't have to drag me on the second one, but it was super fun. Social deduction game. It has so many different abilities. It adds just a whole nother dynamic to the game. There's different levels that you can play that has different scenarios that you have different abilities. We played basically the first level scenario the first night, which was a good amount of things to get a hold of. I think playing your first time, there is a large learning curve because you don't know all of the abilities going around. They give you a cheat sheet, which helps, but you don't know everything. So playing it multiple times definitely helps, but even that first time, it was super fun. I know me and Jonah played for the first time that first night, and it was fun. And then we played the second night, and they jumped to like extreme level, and we were like, whoa, what's going on?
We played a custom scenario that somebody had written. You can write your own scenarios for the game, which is pretty cool. There were bad guys in this game that I've never pronounced these words in my life. The Zomba creature, I don't even know what it was. People that are dead, that are still able to make decisions that can win the game, which is crazy.
Wow.
Really good stuff.
It is wild.
So I heard that you were a drunk in one of them and completely giving misinformation to everybody.
I fortunately really didn't, but I was so confident that I wasn't the drunk or whatever. I don't know, it was crazy. In the game, it is a puzzle to solve, so it's not just like, this person breathed loud, I think that the werewolf will throw him out. It very much is if his information is correct and her information is correct, and I know what I know, then this has to be the case, unless one of us is the drunk. And then everything's chaos.
Because the drunk doesn't know that they have the wrong information, correct?
So
that's so much fun.
Operating under what they assume is the truth.
Or if one of them is a bad guy and they're just lying straight up to you, and you're like, okay, well, I operated on this information and
and all of it was a lie.
The craziest part about the game is that the DM has to choose who's drunk like before the game starts. So the fact that he chose Will is the worst possible choice
he chose Will's
made for the good team.
Because Will is so confident.
Exactly. Gonna be outspoken, gonna be confident, gonna persuade, and all of his information has just been bad. Just the entire game.
Right, and I have no idea. I'm just like, this is it, you guys. I figured it out. So bad. I will say one of my favorite things about the game is when you play with new players, there is a learning curve. However, I've not really played it with anybody. Even so Sarah got a little messed up at the beginning. She was a bad guy. I figured out the information. I called her out. I wasn't drunk at that point. I was right, and I was like, no, this is it. You're out. And she didn't really know how to defend against it because she hadn't played before. Mm-hmm. So depending on which roles you get for the first game, it can kind of mess your experience up. However, she was definitely ready to play the second time because she understood what was going on. And we played So first off, this game is like, it feels to me
Oh, it doesn't
like it's a
seem-
half-hour game.
Right.
And then
But
you
it
look at your
takes
watch and you're
hours.
like, it's been 2.5 hours.
Wow.
This is crazy. Like, the level of intensity is so high the whole time that you don't have time to get bored or even, like, get distracted. You're just in it.
Okay.
And the biggest thing that is really cool about the game is like once you die in other social deductions, you die, you're gone. You're the first one out. You're like, oh well, see you later.
Game.
This game, you still can go around. You can talk to people. You have one vote. You can't vote every time, but you have one vote that you can
Which is usually a
reserve.
very important vote.
Yeah, because all you have to do is beat the bad guy's vote. But you can reserve that, and you can still play the game even if you're dead.
Yeah.
You just don't get
The
any more
information
information.
that you got when you were dead is still very valuable, and you could have been lying. So like, there's so many layers.
And sometimes, depending on your role, you get a new role if you die, and or you might not. Maybe your ability only triggers when you die, or maybe based on who killed you, maybe that gives you a new role.
Or
they
you just
switched roles.
turn into the bad guy and win the
so
game.
It's really,
Correct.
Yeah.
Or sometimes you are the bad guy. You kill one of your own guys to throw like the whole game a different direction, and then the person who got killed knows they were killed by their own teammates. So then they now are like playing this whole secret undercover role. Like there's so much to it. I love it.
This
Yeah.
just sounds like utter chaos.
There's definitely a ton of layers
It
to it.
sounds
organized
like
chaos.
my nightmare.
It sounds like fun, but I think the stress of like keeping things would be difficult.
So good.
Like,
This is good.
And I think the storyteller does play a big role in it, because if you have a good storyteller that can guide the game, they don't really influence the game necessarily, but they can push people toward different areas.
They're not involved in the game, but they can definitely like pull some of those twists and like help this guy look way more shady than he actually was, or help the bad guy look a little better to give him an edge. Like
They try to keep it a little balanced. So if the bad guys are like going way out, or if the bad guys are getting caught too quick, then they kind of can help them bring it back a little bit just to keep the tension. But having a good storyteller definitely
It's clever.
makes it even better.
wow.
Very cool stuff. All right, I think that wraps up our 2023 games for June. If you saw anything that you liked, let us know in the comments. We are excited to be able to share this stuff with you. And if you have questions about any games that maybe you've seen on our channel through playthroughs or Saturday morning or any of those other things that you want more info on, always happy to help in that way as well. Hope you guys have a great day. Leading out the time because I was halfway through. I was like, "Oh, I'm feeling real comfortable."
No, you look good.
You're feeling
I'm
comfortable.
not even. My face isn't even.
Half
moved,
of will.
Just laying.
Stop feeling comfortable when you record.
Correct. No comfortable.
Yes.
The GM has
Stress.
so much influence in that game.
Yes.
So much.